Welcome back to another advanced Python tutorial. So if you're new to this channel, please consider subscribing and leaving a comment. So without further words, let's get started. In this video, we're going to talk about tuples. Tuples are collection data types that are ordered, immutable, and allows duplicate of elements. A tuple is just similar to a list. The difference is that a tuple cannot be changed once it is created. So let's have a closer look on the tuples and what we can do with them. First of all, a tuple is created by using parentheses. So for example, we may write my tuple equals to, let's say we have Max, then we have 8, and then we have Boston. We may print our tuple and then see we have our tuple here, and it's not necessary to have the parentheses, so you can just remove the parentheses. And if we save this and printing it, we have the same tuple. Just remember, when you write, you need to separate them with a comma. Okay, one special thing you can do to create a tuple, just let's say we have a tuple. Let's delete this. If you create it like this, it won't be recognized as a tuple. So to overcome this, even if it's a single element within your tuple, you need to put a comma. So if you put a comma like this, and if you print it here, you still have a tuple. So if you don't put a comma here, it's going to be treated like a string, like that. Okay, so now you can also use the built-in tuple function to create a tuple from the iterable. For example, you can create, for example, let's say this is our tuple. We can create another tuple here. Let's say my tuple. Let's say equal to tuple. And then let's put iterable here, like a list. Then we can decide to put Max. And then we can 28. And then we can put Boston. So if we go ahead and print, let's print my tuple and see we have the same result. Yes. Okay, that's another way of creating a tuple. Now, if you want to access elements, you can do by referring to the index of the element. So for example, if we have our tuple here, now let's say this is our tuple, and we want to access the elements inside the tuple, we can do this by referring the index. So we can say an item is equal to, say, my tuple, then at index 0, and let's print the item. So if we print the item here, we have Max. You see, we can also test for index 1, which gives 28, yeah, and we can also test for index 2, save, which it also gives us Boston. Okay, now we can also specify a negative index, like using the -1. So -1 or -2, this will gives the last element of the tuple. For example, if we do this, if you can add here -1 and print it, so you're going to have Boston. And if we add -2 here and print it, okay, we are going to have 28.